Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sets video. This time, as you can see, it's going to be entirely based on Seismitoad. So I got two Seismitoad sets for you all to see, and so we'll just get things started like we normally do by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Seismitoad sports the very cool Water Ground typing, which is a typing that is only shared by a few other Pokemon, namely Swampert, Whiscash, and Quagsire, and overall it's just a really solid typing. You only have one weakness, which is to Grass, but that is unfortunately a 4 times weakness. As for the abilities though, the first one that it gets is known as Swift Swim, which is a really cool ability that allows Seismitoad to double its speed under rain. And if you choose to use a set like this, Seismitoad can prove to be a very powerful attacker that will be pretty much unmatched in speed because of this ability. As for the second ability though, it is known as Poison Touch, which is a really cool ability that allows you to poison your opponents when you use any type of contact move. And one of the cool things about this is you can actually activate Poison Touch with Grass Knot, which is one of Seismitoad's moves, and that's just one little unique thing about it, but it also learns plenty of other attacking moves that will hit the opponent and could provide some use with this ability, though I do feel like it is the weakest of Seismitoad's 3 abilities. Also, just to clarify, it does have a 20% chance to poison with a contact move. As for its last ability though, it is known as Water Absorb, which is a really great ability that allows Seismitoad to gain an immunity to water type moves and also gain HP every single time it's attacked by a water type move. And finally, I believe this is released, so I'm really excited about that because I've been waiting for Water Absorb Seismitoad ever since I knew about Seismitoad, because this Pokemon is essentially just a faster and slightly more specially based Quagsire, and with the Water Absorb, it's basically a better Pokemon if you want a special attacker instead of using Quagsire, which can only go physical. That was just something cool about it, but this ability is really great and something that Seismitoad can really benefit from, because not only will it obviously allow you to be immune, but it gives you 2 immunities along with the electric immunity that ground provides. But as for your stats, it gets actually really great HP, being at 105, and also some pretty good defenses, being at 75 apiece. So overall, Seismitoad can actually be a pretty defensive Pokemon if you choose to do so, and even on more offensive sets, you can pretty much be sure that you're going to survive a non-super effective hit because of the defenses being pretty solid overall, especially with that good HP stat. As for the attacking stats though, Seismitoad was given 85 apiece as well, so for the physical and special side, meaning that Seismitoad can run very good sets from both sides of the spectrum, or even a mixed set, which is actually the first set that I'm going to show you today. And lastly, Seismitoad has a base 74 speed, which is the weirdest number ever for a speed stat, because they could have just made it 75 like the others, but I guess not. And overall, this is pretty, I guess, below average speed. It's not the best, but because of the Swift Swim ability, if you are trying to be a speedy attacker, the speed is pretty much mitigated by it doubling under rain. But with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you in this video. So for this first set, we're going to start by giving Seismitoad a naughty nature to increase its physical attack but lower its special defense. And for the ability, we're going to be going with Swift Swim. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into our physical attack to give us our max physical attack, 96 into our special attack to give us some investment into that since we are more of a mixed set, and then 160 EVs into our speed to allow us to pretty much outspeed everything once we are under Swift Swim. And this speed investment is also taking into account common Scarfers, and the fastest Pokemon that is commonly Scarfed is a timid Rotom fan form, and we are EV'd to be able to outspeed that under rain, which is really cool. As for the item though, we are going to be going with a Life Orb as a way to do more damage with all of our attacks. But for the moveset, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be Rain Dance as a way to set up our own rain and also activate our Swift Swim ability. Now if you are using Seismitoad on a team that does have other Rain Dance users, you should probably forego this move, maybe for a move like Drain Punch or Rock Slide, but either one would pretty much work, and Drain Punch could actually work really well just for the recovery because you are using a Life Orb. But if you're not, go with Rain Dance obviously, and then the first attacking move that we're going to be going with this set is going to be Earthquake to allow us to do some awesome damage from our physical ground stab side. And obviously, you know, Earthquake's a great move overall, and it can hit things really hard. As for our next move though, it's a Black and White 2 move tutor upgrade to this Pokemon because it did not get Ice Punch before, let alone any ice moves. So that's really great for Seismitoad. Now that Ice Punch is there, it'll allow it to handle grass types a little bit better, you still won't be one-hit KOing a Mungus anytime soon, so be a little bit careful when you are using this move against a grass type. Make sure it does have some damage on it prior to using it, because you're not generally going to be one-hit KOing things with Ice Punch if they are weak to them, or if it's a grass type that is weak to it. And then lastly, we're actually going to go with Hydro Pump, because Seismitoad can run a pretty great mix set, as you could see before, since it has base 85 for both its physical and special attack. And the main reason for using Hydro Pump is because Seismitoad does not get a physical water type move. I don't know why it doesn't, but that really hinders it a lot. So going with Hydro Pump is really great because it's a really high base power move, so you don't really have to worry so much about the investment into that because the move is just so darn powerful itself. And under rain, it's really hard for Pokemon to deal with it. And it's really great because a lot of Pokemon that would normally be able to take your Earthquakes really well probably won't be able to take the Hydro Pumps that well, especially under rain. And just to give you a little bit of an example, Alomomola, which is normally a very physically defensive Pokemon, can potentially be 2-hit KO'd by a Hydro Pump under the rain with the special attack investment. And that's not taking into account leftovers, I guess. So maybe it'll happen. So if the Alomomola has some damage on it prior to you attacking it, it's very possible that you could 2-hit KO it, which is really cool. And it resists that, which is pretty much saying something about this Pokemon. But overall, this is just a really solid mix set, and it's great that Seismitoad is able to get Ice Punch now to give it a lot more type coverage on its movesets. As for this next set, we're going to start by giving Seismitoad a bold nature to increase its physical defense and lower its physical attack, and then for the ability, we're going to be going with Water Absorb this time. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give us our max HP, 252 into our physical defense to give us our max physical defense, and then 4 for speed. And as for the item, we're going to be going with Leftovers. For the moves though, we're actually going to be running a more supportive set, obviously from the physically defensive side as well, but Seismitoad is fortunate enough to get Stealth Rock as one of the Black and White 2 move tutor moves, and I think that's a move that I would like to see a lot more use of on this Pokemon because it's really great that it can set up entry hazards now and gives it a lot of options as a utility member of your team. But with that, we're also going to go with Scald as a way to do some solid water type damage and also potentially get that 30% chance to burn, which is amazing because if you're using that in combination with this EV spread and you do get the burn, you will pretty much be taking no damage from the physical side because of how bulky this Pokemon can get with that burn tacked onto it, which is really cool. And with that, we're also going to be going with Earth Power as a secondary stab option from the special side. It's really great because it allows Seismitoad to match up very well against a lot of common leads in NU. Obviously, Garbodor is one of them, so Earth Power can hit that pretty hard. And also, a lot of those rock and ground types are also hit really hard by Scald and Earth Power, which is really cool. So Seismitoad actually matches up very, very well against a lot of common leads to set up entry hazards. And for the last move on the set, we're actually going to go with Knock Off because that is also another one of Seismitoad's Black and White 2 move tutor moves, and it could provide some much needed support from your end if you could get rid of your opponent's leftovers or other items like choice bands or specs or something like that. It basically allows you to have a much easier time in battle when you're able to get rid of your opponent's item. And overall, this set is just really solid as a more supportive set for Seismitoad. I really, really like using it, and for anyone that's curious, it works really well with Articuno. I don't know why, but it just does. And that's just a fun fact anyway. But with that, let's actually get into some video footage of one of these sets that I have for you today. So things in this clip start off pretty hilariously by me missing a Fire Blast and then my opponent landing a critical hit with its Thunderbolt. By the way, I have wide lens on Magmar, so that Fire Blast has about 94% accuracy. But I scare out the Ampharos with Seismitoad and set up a Rain Dance as it switches, thus making me faster than this Butterfree and able to one-hit KO it with Ice Punch because that is an awesome move tutor move that is very welcome on Seismitoad. But this this Arbok comes in, intimidates me, which would normally be a problem, but since we are mixed, I can Hydro Pump it from the special side, ignoring the minus physical attack that I just got from Intimidate, and one-shot that. And here this Ninjask comes in, and I thought I might be faster than it, even after +1, but unfortunately I'm not. So I'm not actually able to take out this Ninjask, but if you can see my opponent's team right there, it had a Gramble and an Ampharos left. and if I Hydro Pumped either one of them on the turn that the Ninjask Baton passed, the Granbull would have died and the Ampharos would have took about 80% in the rain, which is important to make note of, I feel. It is also important to note that running a Naughty Nature on Seismitoad for the minus special defense is better than running a minus physical defense on a speedy mixed set because of priority moves like the Sucker Punch that the Arbok used being mostly physical. The only special priority move is Vacuum Wave, which is very uncommon, so you're more often than not safer going with a minus special defense nature on a mixed set like this one. As I was also testing this, I ran into a couple people running more bulky Seismitoad spreads, and those are actually very good as well, so that just proves that both of these sets are very viable in competitive play that I have for you today. But anyways, that is it for this video, everyone. So as always, take care, goodbye, and thank you for watching.